Good evening. Ira Epstein with your Spider ETF stock market wrap-up. And this wrap-up is for Monday, the 17th of June, 2024. I hope you had a great Father's Day. And I do want to remind you that we've got our Father's Day sale that ends tomorrow. Now, it won't go to midnight, so you want to take advantage of this. IraEpstein.com. If you go that way, go to the research. You don't need a discount coupon. It's right there in front of you. $398 for 30 days of the morning subscriber video, $448 for 30 days of the ETF, and both of them combined for $845. Go get a latte at Starbucks, see what it is, and that'll be out of your system in a couple of hours, right? This won't be. And you, I hope, will learn and get some trade ideas. There'll be an icon up here you can click as well. The next thing to look at, we have tomorrow data. We get the advanced resales data for May. Redbook Group's coming out with their retail sales. We're going to get Federal Reserve monthly industrial production and capacity utilization. We're going to get business inventories. Several Fed members will be speaking tomorrow. And we get the API numbers at 3:30. Then we have Juneteenth. Remember that on Wednesday. Stock markets are closed. Futures markets will be open for limited trading. And they generally end 12/1. You have to check with everything on that. It's very simple to do. And then from there, we move on, all right? So right now, what we're looking at in these markets are, first off, NVIDIA today, not an up day. Uh-oh. Market actually not up, and yet new highs in the stock markets. The NASDAQ and the S&P just running still. Tesla gained $9. So what happened there? Well, China has approved for Tesla to go ahead and test out its autonomous driving. That's important. I think it's in Shanghai they're going to do that. We saw Linn after the market come out with good numbers, but the forward guidance wasn't good, and the stock was down near 2.5%. AMC started off on a good note. Disney's got a winner with what that Outside movie, and bingo, still couldn't hold on to it. UAL holding on, but now there's questions about air flight. Is the season going to be as strong as first thought? Generally speaking, the car companies did okay. Amazon up another 40 cents. Schwab up 44, down 44. But, you know, over the weekend, maybe I didn't explain the index that I was looking at on a weekly basis. So I want to straighten it out because somebody wrote. I know the Schwab name is in there because they created the fund, but that's not what this is about. Let me bring up the chart and get that to you right here. This SCHD, if you read this, it tracks the Dow Jones U.S. Dividend 100 index. That simple. Read about it, you'll understand, and you'll see where the prices are with it. So it's a dividend index, and it's been falling. All right, so that's not the best thing. This thing, when you look at it, is not sitting here in a screaming bull market in any way. You got to be a bit careful right here what it's going to do. I wouldn't want to see it keep coming down. If it does, you could be a surprise here at the 7,300 level if this market lets go. I can make an argument that from the 80 level down here to the 70, let's call it 76.5 area, it's $3.50. You'd add, subtract 3.5 from 76.5, and that's how I get to that number that you can get down to. So on a chart, not pretty. The trend is down. To negate the bearishness in the market, you've got to get back over the 78.27 level. When we look at moving averages, you just had a bearish crossover right here. And generally, when you get one of those, I'll show you. Here it comes, right there. Market goes down, hit the Bollinger Band, in fact, and you're getting a bounce. But this area from 77.73 to 78.03, that's going to be a bear area, and I think the pros will be looking at that potentially to go short. Bollinger Bands, right here at the market, you held it. And as you can see, the slow stochastics are not oversold. So I do think the pros will be looking at this. If they sell in there, they wouldn't want to hang around if it gets, I think, over 78.27. But barring that, I think they'll be going, for a quarter, 50 cents, you've got a risk in there, and maybe it goes back to 76.44, maybe 7,300. In SMCI, okay, finally. We had covered this one the week before, and I always follow through with it. I was hoping it would go up further than the 100-day average, and it did. Today it's one of the AI stocks that caught on fire and went up today nicely, gaining 5% today. So I was so happy to see the Bollinger Band hit on that. Generally, I try to cover the ones that I think will make a move, sometimes down or up, and we talk about that as we're going. Tesla, you're back over the upper Bollinger Band, and you are coming out of sideways action. So unlike when we had the wide Bollinger Bands here, this is different. If it wants to continue, this could become a base. You won't know till after the fact. It's probed here before and failed. So let's see if it can continue or if it's going to move out and up. Rivian's pulling back as I thought it might do after hitting the upper 100-day average. I say upper because it was over the market with the upper Bollinger Band, and it's fallen back here looking for its footing, and that's what I think we have to look for. Now, remember, they had their facilities closed. They've added another production line, so they're not going to produce as many cars as they thought before, but they're going to get cost savings on each car. And as they ramp things up in the fall, as I understand it, that's when we'll start seeing what this has all done for them. In Freeport, you're running the lower Bollinger Band. Now, possibly you're going to make a run to the 100-day average at 46, but I think you're coming to the end of the break. So I don't think you're early on. I think you're late on in this move. It could go there, and we'll see what happens. Short covering, yeah, I can see that on the way down, but I don't see any reason to go long yet. That is not what the market has thrown out. When we come to the home builders, I mentioned Linn because I saw how their earnings went today. This is a story of the haves and the have-nots. Now, what do I mean by that? The people that have a lot of money, they can go to Toll, they can go to all these fancy builders, and they get done. But when you come to the middle of the road, not the multi-million-dollar homes, you're not getting the same thing because money counts. High interest rates are still the enemy there, and the higher-priced homes. So there isn't that big margin that the builders of this category can work with that make up some of this, and that's what's going on. What you don't want to see is to come back and take out the lows of this past Monday, right here, of 102.80. This was the first break into the support of the 100-day and the 18. It's a market that has an uptrend. The resistance is a bit higher at 106.31. It's not like I think it's going to run away at this point, but it could get ugly if you get under that number I said. Linn, I'm bringing that up because of what happened today. And in the aftermarket, this did lose about 2.5% so far, but it didn't have a trend going in. You had a higher high, lower low. On Friday, you would hit the Bollinger Band for the first actual time. That's where I think the pros came out, and they probably came out in anticipation of waiting to see today's earnings, which were, again, not bad. It's the forward guidance that were really terrible. In XLF, when we look at the financial services, the first challenge of a 100-day average and Bollinger Band occurred Thursday and Friday. Now you're getting a bounce. You're too oversold, I think, to attract new selling in the market at this point, but I do see resistance at 41.20. In XLI, same thing. You went down, had one day where you got underneath the 100-day average, hit the Bollinger Band, and today came sneaking right back up into that resistance. And of course, the industrial sector, tomorrow we are going to get industrial production and capacity utilization. So you want to keep an eye on that. On the energy sector, I'm reading the stories with the mergers, acquisitions, the profitability of the companies, where they're at, and it's obviously weighing on this, all right? That's not the same as the raw crude price. It's very different. In the metal markets, are we going to be able to get back and over 215.83 and call an end to this overall correction? We'll find out. but that is the number that you have to close over. You'd have to, in silver, close back over 27.60. Otherwise, the bear trend's still here. And in copper, this is why I'm saying it. Today's low was 43.36. The Bollinger Band was 42.23. It's still embedded. You could get down there. You don't have to. You're right in this area where I expect to see some short covering between there and the 100-day average if it wants to really stretch itself out. Is there a reason to go long? None that I see. But are there reasons to cover shorts? Well, some. And that's because of where you're at. But until you lose the embedded reading, the pros, I think, will hold on to some of their short position. In TLT, you finally got up to the upper Bollinger Band. You're correcting a little bit. This market's had a long run. It's gone from here, 88, all the way to 94, and now look at all the moving averages congesting right here at the 92.27, 91.97, and 91.85. They're all coming together. You know that's initially a support zone. If you should take out 90.65, then you've got a problem in the market, but not until that occurs, so I think that's what the pros will look at. In the dollar, you've had a nice run up, but you're not staying over the upper Bollinger Band very easy. Market keeps getting thrown back there. You had a bullish crossover in the dollar where it got over the 200-day average. So the 18-day average is over the 200 and the 100 on the chart. Very overbought and into resistance of the Bollinger Band. And FXE is down to the lower band, oversold. And that's where I think the pros are taking money off the table. We could get a bearish crossover here, where this market finally gets underneath the 100. That would be a bearish setup on this longer term. So got to keep your eyes on how this is all playing out. Want to remind you that the sale ends again tomorrow. 50% off. As I told you, go to iraepstein.com, or there's a cursor right here. Give it a click and away you go. I'm Ira. You have yourself a great evening. I'll catch up with everybody first thing in the morning.